I was divorced, and in the divorce, I took responsibility for a lot of the debt. With the way that my credit is now, I am not going to qualify. Working the whole entire time, finally got my own apartment, and there wasn't any extra to take care of this debt that I had taken the responsibility for. There's sort of this stereotype among people that if you are in collections, then you're lazy, and that you are trying to get away with something, and that I have this debt, and that is in collection.
Hey friends, it's Katie from Without a Crystal Ball. Welcome back to my channel. It is Tuesday, October 29th, 2024. Last week, I broke the story that Kody Robyn Brown had closed on a new home in Flagstaff. The home, which has a combined almost 7,800 square feet, has a main house with 5,500 square feet and a guest home with 2,200 square feet. The home in Flagstaff is closer to the city. It sold for $2.1 million, and Kody and Robyn placed the home in a trust called Whitestone Trust. In order to buy the home, they put down $420,000. And in the middle of all of that, we have an ongoing lawsuit in Utah related to child custody, child support, and paternity. One day before Kody and Robyn closed on their new home, Kody filed in the state of Utah a counterclaim against Christine. Basically, he was telling Christine she harmed him in some way, and he wanted something in the custody agreement with Truly. And he's while fighting her in court, files the countersuit, next day signs loan documents. But as I told you last week, as a part of that lawsuit, there's an injunction in place, which basically states that he cannot transfer, encumber, or dispose of any assets. When Kody and Robyn put in the purchase agreement for this home, it was the end of August of 2024. And only a few weeks later, Christine sued Kody for child support, paternity, and parental time with Truly. Basically, she's seeking full custody of Truly and back child support. When this lawsuit went into place and the injunction went into place, Kody very well could have easily gotten out of this purchase because he would not have been able to meet certain contingencies like being able to sell his own home because he technically cannot have two primary residences. The current home that he had been living in has never been rented and cannot qualify as a rental home because he wasn't using it for rental income. So right now, as we stand today, Kody has two primary residences and has two mortgages for primary residences. That's a problem. He's going to have to eventually be able to get rid of one of these homes because both homes cannot be primary residences. Many of you have asked, but if this is not a divorce and they aren't fighting over property, how can there be an injunction in place because they don't have any debt? Not true. When it comes to child custody, someone that is owed child support is actually considered a creditor. And when it comes to injunctions, in a case involving child support, a debt is actually considered back child support. Christine is a creditor of Kody. And because this suit involves money, the financial injunction is absolutely in effect today. Kody Brown, prior to all of this, did not make any requests to the court. The judge in this case has not issued a single order. The judge in this case has not issued anything. There's no order. So he has made no requests to be able to sell a house or buy a house. He's done none of that. Okay. Now, some of you had wondered about the trust. Now, this is the part that's going to complicate things for Christine. Because Kody and Robyn made the decision to purchase the home in a revocable trust, there are several different kinds of trusts, living trusts that a person can form. There's a revocable trust and an irrevocable trust. A revocable trust means that the primary people that run the trust are generally the people that also have, like, it's their bank accounts, it's their assets. So in this case, Whitestone Trust is actually just Kody and Robyn, and it's a trust held for Kody and Robyn. That's it. They are the only trustees, and it's their trust alone. Now, by revocable, what it means is that at any point in time, Kody and Robyn can actually change the trust agreements, they can change the trustees, they can change properties, they can do whatever they want. There's more leeway here than it is if it was an irrevocable trust. When you form an irrevocable trust, you cannot change the trust from the day that the trust is formed. Now, the benefits of an irrevocable trust is that there's better legal protection in these trusts, but in a revocable trust that Kody and Robyn have found, they do not have any legal protection whatsoever from creditors and child support cases or child support liens or claims for child support. As I stated before, Kody's obviously trying to protect his assets and protect his quote unquote estate, thinking that a trust will help him do this. Now, it doesn't actually help him do that because claims can be filed against a trust. Here's the problem for Christine, though. She's started this lawsuit now in the state of Utah. In order for her to file a claim against Kody and Robyn, in order to get in order for her to get child support once this all comes to pass, and so for her to collect, she's going to actually have to sue and add to the lawsuit Whitestone Trust. If Kody and Robyn actually have assets and they have money in Whitestone Trust, that entity has to be included in the child custody case. A lawyer that follows me left a comment about this on my last video, basically stating it's not the end of the world. It just is another loophole that Christine has to walk through in order to get access to the money and that a claim be filed against the trust. So she still can file a claim against that house if after all this is said and done, if she needs to, as long as she adds the trust to the lawsuit. So it's one more step she has to take. This trust also would not prevent Kody from having claims filed against him by Janelle or Mary. So he may think that he's doing this to get away from them, but it's not going to work. Now, the reason I believe he's making this choice to buy this house is because he wants to get rid of the house the McMansion, because that house has under the table encumbrances. There's other people that have a stake in the equity of that home, and he would rather just dispose of it and get rid of it so that he can wash his hands clean. Basically, it's like, I committed fraud to get this house, and I'm just going to get rid of this house, and I'm going to use the money from that house to move on with my new life. It's worked for Kody in the past a lot, and he's been able to access equity from the various women throughout the years in order to rip them off and move on and get better in his life. But at this time, it's not going to work because now he actually can't even sell that house to get the equity that he so desperately wants. I believe that he truly thought that this would get him out of the problem. And this was going to get him away from Janelle and Mary because they don't have any claim on my new house. How could they ever have any claims on this, you know? Well, now with the injunction in place, as I stated, once Kody found out about the injunction, he actually took the home off the market. He took the home off the market. And the reason why he took it off the market has a lot to do not only with the injunction, but with affidavits of disclosures that are signed by sellers of homes to buyers. And when they sell a house, they have to sign a disclosure, and the disclosure says this: use of the property is or is not limited in any way relating to any encumbrance of title due to a lease pendens, a court order, or a state real estate department order, or a pending legal action. If the use of the property is limited due to an encumbrance of title, the seller or property owner shall disclose the limitations to the buyer. What this means is that if he wanted to sell the home legally, Kody would have to explain to the buyer, I'm being sued in the state of Utah for child support, and part of the equity here is in part of the fight because the money that's from the sale of this home is money that I actually owe to somebody else. And there's actually a court case now that is in place in the state of Utah encumbering this home. I have a court order that says I can't sell this home without permission. Is a buyer of a home going to read that explanation and actually buy a house? No. Is a real estate agent going to sell a home that has that kind of encumbrance? No. Would the sale even be able to legally go through with a court order or a pending legal action? No. So when Kody buys the new house, he doesn't have to disclose that he has another house that has a lawsuit against it. All he needs to know is if the new house he's buying has any encumbrances and or liens or court orders or actions against it. And in the case of their new home, the new buyer or the new seller says, "No, this home has no liens on it. There's nothing to explain. It's free and clear." So the title of the McMansion would not be considered free and clear for closing. That's why he can't sell it. That's the reason why he won't be able to sell it for now until a court decides what's going to happen in this case. Several of you wondered, is Kody actually bound to the jurisdiction of court because he's lives in Arizona, but the case is in Utah? Yes, there's actually an act. It's called Uniform Child Custody Jurisdiction and Enforcement Act, and the Full Faith and Credit Clause are federal laws that apply to child custody cases that involve multiple states. These laws help ensure that child custody orders are valid and enforceable across state lines. The parent can register an order for custody from another state in a new state if they move, but generally the custodial parent will file the case in the state in which they live. Because of this federal act, Kody has to abide by the laws of Utah when it comes to paying child support. Now that they're in litigation, they have a process that they have to go through, which I explained to you last week. And this includes their initial financial disclosures and any evidence that they have and discovery to share back and forth. Kody has to disclose to the state of Utah his income. The fact that Kody applied for and was granted a $1.685 million mortgage means that he has a fairly sizable income. According to the average DTIs, mortgage companies will let you go up to sometimes up to 50% of your debt to income ratio for your mortgage payment. I stated last week that the expected payment due for Kody's new home is around $11,000. If he had no other debt, that would mean that the minimum amount that he had to make on a monthly basis would be $22,000 a month. That doesn't mean that's what he's being paid per episode by TLC. It doesn't mean anything at all. That's just the monthly amount. That's how they qualify and determine income versus debt in mortgage. It's highly likely that he makes more than that because we know that he's carrying the mortgage with his other house still, and that has a payment. We know that he has cars. We know that there's likely credit cards. We also know that he's known to use pawn shops for collateral for other kinds of, loans. So he likely has stuff that's not even visible on a credit report, which would make it even easier for him to qualify if he isn't showing it as an actual loan. He has used non-traditional sources for financing for years, and those that don't report to credit bureaus. So, but the facts are that because he was able to qualify for this very high loan amount, that is going to be usable to Christine and to the court to help determine what his actual payment will be. And because he's making a lot more than Christine, and he will not be the custodial parent, Christine's expected child support payment could be upwards of a couple $1,000s a month if she gets more than 50-50 custody. Kody cannot use the purchase of a new house and the fact that he has a mortgage payment to avoid paying child support. So if he has to make mortgage payments on the house that he currently bought, the new house and the old house, those payments cannot be used for him to say, well, I don't have any money left over to pay for child support. It will not matter. It will still be a monthly credit due. The state of Utah will collect this in a number of different ways. And if he stops making payment, there's different methods that they can take in order to recover the money. The facts is that Kody won't be able to get away from it. He's not going to be able to get out of it. And they can do things like use enforcement tools like intercepting federal tax return refunds and federal payments that are due to him. They could intercept state tax refunds. They could intercept payments due to you from state and local government agencies like unemployment or worker compensation. They can report past due child support to credit bureaus. and district courts. They can place liens on his property. They can deny, restrict, limit, or revoke his passport. They can suspend his some of the recreational licenses like hunting and fishing. They can place a lien or take money from a bank account. They can suspend a driver's license. They can suspend professional, occupational, and other types of licenses. So they can also directly garner wages. So if Kody is getting money from like whatever he gets from TLC, they can take it out directly from that money he's getting from the network. And that comes out before anything else. Child support is not below a house payment. You cannot rack up more debt to avoid child support. Part of their court case is going to include the settlement of debt that's owed to Christine for the lifetime of Truly's life and the debt that she's incurred raising her without Kody's help. This will include past child support and medical debt that she carries and other expenses she's had to pay to raise Truly without his help. Kody has never paid for anything to do with Christine's children. He was on a mortgage with her very briefly, but was removed from the mortgage in the year 2020. So since 2020, Christine's finances with Kody have been separated and they were only ever conjoined for 2 years. Kody never participated in carrying health insurance for Truly, never paid for any of her medical fees or Isabel's medical fees. We don't know if Christine is actually suing him also for medical debt for Isabel, but she's still within the age range that she can go back 4 years for Isabel, which would be her surgery for scoliosis. When a judge goes through everything and determines, okay, this is the amount of child support you're going to pay. This will be the custodial parent. And then, Kody, this is the retroactive money that you have due to her today to get caught up. They will determine how that payment comes into play. If Kody says, I don't have money liquid for that, they can actually, at that point, then order Kody to sell his home. And that when he sells the home, X amount of proceeds of the sale of the home go directly to Christine. So say he has not paid child support and with all the medical debt, he owes Christine $400,000. I mean, he very well could at this point. That would be owed to Christine. And they can say in the court order, the judge can rule that when you sell this house, 400,000 of that equity goes to Christine. And then he can't get away from that. He has to abide by that. And that is a part of the closing. And so the title companies know. Everybody knows where the money's going. Kody will never be able to get away from the child support order. He can take steps to try to avoid it, but the state will never let it go. Even after his children become adults, if he owes child support, he still has to pay it. And child support cases can become criminal. In the state of Utah, there are parents that are deadbeats that can go to jail for 5 years if they don't pay child support. He is on borrowed time. So the sale of Kody's current home is a problem because of the court legal action, the state of Arizona requirements, and the fact that Christine is a creditor. Now that Kody is carrying 2 mortgages, and the fact that he is going to likely be ordered to pay a very hefty child support fee monthly to Christine plus back child support, this was going to be probably his most disastrous financial move ever. Also, Kody cannot foreclose on a house or stop making payments on a house in the middle of a court action. So if Kody thinks he can try to just screw them all out of money by stopping to make payments on the other home now that he's got a new home and a new mortgage, that's not going to happen either. He cannot stop making payments in the middle of a court case to try to screw her out of money. He is stuck now with 2 mortgage payments because he was trying to be a hotshot and trying to be so flashy to screw Christine out of money and to screw everyone out of money. And so he could live his life and further pour salt in their wounds. But honestly, this is not going to end well for Kody. And the show they've had a lot of extra episodes last season. So he probably had a really good year last year for income. This season's likely going to have a lot of episodes, but there's not going to be 20 more seasons of Sister Wives. They'll be lucky if there's 2 or 3 more seasons after this season. Season 19 is not the end. They're currently filming for season 20. I don't know if they're going to extend after season 20, I know that season 20 was the last year of the current contract. So if season 20 is the end, then how does Kody afford his home? He's making really erratic choices based on current situations with income that are only temporary because the show will not last forever. And he doesn't have anything else in his life that provides him the income that Sister Wives does. So in the future, things could get messy for Kody. And for now, he's stuck on the hook with 2 mortgage payments and he can't sell his house. What are your thoughts? Do you think Christine will take the steps to add Whitestone Trust to the lawsuit? Will she also have to be forced to bring action against Robyn as a part of that trust? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up. Also, make sure to subscribe to my channel if you haven't subscribed and click the bell so you never miss a video. Thank you so much for watching. Bye, everyone.